What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the trades we end up taking today inside the Discord, as well as the game plan going into tomorrow. So today was a little bit of a weird day. I actually didn't end up taking anything. I'm going to go over why. So if we look here, you guys know going into today, we're still bearish here on the 30-minute. And there was pretty much two scenarios going into today on what was going to happen. We were either going to, since we closed at this 50 SMA, this is your key pivot point. So I told you guys, if we hold this 50 and we open, red tomorrow, market's still bearish. You want to focus on the shorts. If we open green tomorrow, most likely we see a move higher because we will be losing this 50 SMA and we're crossing negative here on the 30-minute, and you'd be looking for a long trade. So today we end up gapping down quite a bit here, and we just pretty much dumped all day. So when it came to entries today, I just didn't like anything. Like when we go to the fibs here on ES, this is what we have. So we end up getting this retest of this fib right up in here at 68.66, and that wasn't really one that I was looking to take just because of how much we dropped on the day. So you can see we end up breaking below this fib off of open, the 61.8 fib off of open, broke through that, broke through the 78.6, and we hit the 100% fib down in here, which I didn't even long, just because of how bearish we were looking. And yeah, we got this retest of this fib. Okay, gave a nice rejection for me. That wasn't a trade I was that inclined to take, because if you guys remember from I think, did I go over it in last video before, when we end up long in the bottom fib, when we drop like 3 fibs in a day, that's where you don't really want to be shorting the fib that's like right above the fib we dropped for the third level for the day, like the one right above it. It's not something I was really wanting to take, so I just sat out. It did give a solid rejection play. The 30-minute and the higher time frames looked very bearish, so honestly, if you wanted to take it, you could have, but for me, it wasn't something that I had like high conviction about, because we were kind of still hovering around this key spot on the 4-hour on the put side. And I did say yesterday that if we do come up to this 4-hour, most likely it's going to break again, which it did, but we still had higher time frame resistance on like the monthly contracts, which I looked at, and I'm not sure if I have these on here somewhere. I'm going to pull this up real quick because I know it's on here because I did look at it. So monthly contracts, this is kind of what I use it for. The higher time frame, like the daily 50, this is a massive area of resistance. With the 4-hour breaks on the weeklies, this is kind of your next spot to go to, and this is curled down super hard. I'd imagine tomorrow we're going to be green, and that 4 hour is most likely not going to end up crossing. Who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of my bias right now until that 4-hour actually crosses, because I know it did break, but since we're sitting at this monthly 50 here on the daily, which is just such a massive spot, we end up bottoming out so many times off of this daily chart. And yeah, since the 4 hours not crossed yet, favor us opening green tomorrow and pumping a bit. So yeah, also if we look at the 30-minute here, when we ended up getting that fib retest, which was pretty much the top of the day, you can see where we were here on the 30-minute. We were, my bad, this is the wrong chart, but I think it's kind of similar. So yeah, you can see where we're at on the 30-minute chart. We were down in this area. We still had a lot of room to drop to the 50, and if we got the next fib higher, that would have been the ultimate short, and that was 100% gonna be a trade I was taking, because we'd have this 30-minute 50 here, and then also we'd have that fib level. That'd be like a perfect confluence for me to take a trade if we got it today. Was that fib test of the 69.01, which was like 30 points away from where we were. And yeah, if we got this move all the way up in here, that would have lined up with the 30-minute 50, would have been a really good short, and that was the one I was looking for the day, which we never got. So didn't end up taking anything, but that was kind of the reasoning behind it. And these are the current fibs we're kind of playing. So I'm actually in a trade overnight right now, and it is up fat. So I'm gonna turn extended hours on just so you guys could see this, but this was a beautiful trade. I gave it 2 tries, stopped out first time for literally 20 points. And let's see, futures, let's show extended hours, apply. All right, so this is what we're currently in right here. I don't even know what we're currently at here, but let's see the 5-minute. What are we looking like? Are we still going higher? We are. That's beautiful. But I end up trying along off of this fib right here, and I'm taking this on NQ, by the way. So when I'm taking these trades, I am longing NQ just based on the ES chart. So they just respect the levels a lot better than NQ. Sometimes I do look at NQ and take a trade off. It really depends on how they're respecting each other's levels. So ES is the one kind of to go for. And oh my god, we're just ripping. Hold on, let me see what we're up at the moment, because this is an absolute bottom tick of the century here, and I think this might be the bottom through the night. All right, so this is the trades we ended up taking. Like I said, we ended up pulling back to this fib level down in here, and I longed NQ, had a 20-point stop, was keeping it really tight, and then I got stopped out on that, obviously, and we dropped a little bit more. And then once we reclaimed this level here on the 5-minute, because if you look on the 30-minute here, we pretty much hit that bottom extension just about, like, okay, not really, but 10 points within it, and we end up getting back above this 123.6 fib. So I'm like, okay, if we get a retest of this, this is the most, like, this is such an insane risk to reward trade, because if we pretty much get a good closure below this 5-minute, okay, I'm not gonna really lose much, and if we hold this fib, we're gonna end up ripping pretty much towards this fib. So you know, that is like 50 points away on NQ. That's probably like 300 to 400 points away. And that was the trade we ended up taking overnight, which is up fat at the moment. Over 200 points. I ended up trimming some of my position just now. It's literally up, I think, 200 points. So, yeah, riding this overnight. Probably going to trim another con at this 68.22 fib, but it was a simple retest right up in here. It was up in an instant, like 100 points in NQ. Then we pulled back to it. I didn't sell any on this because that is not what I'm looking for this type of trade. You're looking for a really massive, like, big move when you're playing these fibs. It seems like stupid to kind of go 100 points in profit and then it flip, you know, a little bit red and come back to your fill, but you just gotta, you know, stick to your plan. And we ended up closing below the 5-minute right here, but this really wasn't like a significant close below. And if this candle ended up getting, you know, a dump further and close below, I would have closed it. But yeah, I actually ended up adding more on this retest just because it was super low risk trade. If we lost this fib right here, I probably would have lost like 20 points on NQ, maybe 30 if it was like more aggressive. But yeah, overnight trade is up fat, and who knows if I'm going to do anything tomorrow, because this pretty much already made the day. I mean, it's what, a couple hours in futures, 3 hours, and yeah, this is a really textbook trade. You know, market was selling off in a close. We hit those major resistance points. That's why I was kind of trying to long tonight, because I've seen just some like crazy moves happen overnight where futures are down a couple hundred points and then reverse green. This is kind of one of those scenarios that I think will happen where we do open green and futures will flip at some point. But at this point, risk-free trade, that's going break even for sure, trimmed. So yeah, it was a really good move. But that's the reason behind those trades. And the plan for tomorrow is going to be kind of interesting. I'm not really sure. I kind of just lean more bullish just because of those higher time frame 50 SMAs, like that 4-hour 50 we haven't crossed yet. A daily 50 on the monthly contracts haven't you know, broken and crossed. So if we got a fat bounce tomorrow, wouldn't surprise me. Your spot you're going to want to look for, I really have no clue where we're going to open tomorrow, so it's going to be kind of hard to give you guys a fib trade to take when I have no clue what fib we'd be opening up at. So if we just look on the 30-minute, you're going to want to just keep an eye on these charts. We're actually picking new contracts tomorrow, so that will be also interesting to see kind of what those look like. But again, this probably won't be the chart. This isn't going to be the chart for tomorrow, but on the 30-minute chart, look for this 50 SMA area. This is going to be your key spot to look for a trade off of. Maybe we could get a fib short lined up with a 30-minute 50. But honestly, I would imagine we go higher tomorrow. But that's going to be your probably best opportunity to take a short trade. When it comes to longs, really the only way I'd be longing tomorrow is if we start crossing negative here on this 30-minute and we're crossing negative. So we lose the 50 and 50's turning down, 10's down hard, and we're crossing negative. Then you could look for some sort of long trade. Maybe we get like a CRDT call across tomorrow, but we'll have to see how that ends up playing out. So game plan tomorrow is kind of up in the air. I feel like we're going to be pumping tomorrow. But yeah, that's what we did today. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub. If you guys want to learn, join the Discord down below. It's where I share all my trades. It's where I shared the trade tonight. Caught 200 points. So yeah, that's the place if you want to learn. That's all I got. I'm out. Peace.